Hello YouTube streamers, and once again welcome to the video, and this time I am going to show you the opening which I invented personally, and I have given it a bit of a kind name. It's called as the Twin Prick Gambit. Now if you guys have some better names for this gambit, of course you can keep it, and you can just tell me in the comment section what they are. But we need to continue this video of course and show you the gambit. The gambit is for the symmetrical variation of the Italian game or the four knights. Let me show you the position. In Italian game, this is how it is reached. And suddenly you can see it's a lot symmetrical. And after these castlings occur, and please note the castling has to occur or the sequence of moves might change. And you might even end in a losing position. Twin Prick Gambit starts with knight d5. The point is, knight takes on e4 can be played, which most players will go for, and they will expect rook to e1 to be played, but you will not go for that. Instead, you will play d4, and that's why it's a twin prick, because the first one was sacrificed in order to bring the knight to a square it can be attacked on, and the second one is also. Now the right move in this position is to capture with the knight on the d4 square, but this results in a very passive position for the black pieces. And if you're a passive player, this might be possible, but never play passive if it's not your style. And of course, people go for the move e takes on d4. This is the trick. The trick is to play queen to d3. Now you might see that the bishop on c4 and the queen on d3, they are both placed on the diagonals attacking the black king, and the knight is now in attack. You cannot push the pawn to f5 because you simply get the discovered check. So that's not really possible. So what you end up doing is you ask black where he wants to go. If knight f6 or this knight to d6. So let's consider knight to d6, trying to attack the bishop on c4. Well, you can close your eyes and play the move directly, which is this bishop to g5. Now this is really awesome because the point is, of course, you want to defend the queen, but if you move your knight back, the knight simply gets captured. The second way to defend is to move the queen itself, but then rook move and you're gone. The queen is gone, and there's no defense against this really. Considering that, you might even think to defend with the pawn, but that's the worst possible move to be played in this position. It allows checkmate in 2. Knight captures on f6 is the double check from the bishop as well as the knight, so none of the pieces can be captured. And after the king moves to the square on h8, you can see the checkmate right away. Its queen captures over here. Anyway, we'll go back to the position of knight d5. In this position, my opponent did not capture on the e4. He instead went for knight to a5. And I played the slightly advantageous move of b3. Now if you keep this in front of an engine, the engine will tell you that no, this is not the right move, it's an inaccuracy. And it ends up giving black advantage. But the truth is, engines do not considerably understand this position. Anyway, in the game, after my b3 move, knight takes on e4 was finally played. So I thought the next move is always going to be the same. Knight captures on c4. So I must go with my idea, which I planned before. So I went d4 immediately. And after this, of course, e takes on d4 was played, and again the queen d3 menace starts. Just one move difference, but you achieve the same position. This game was really awesome because knight to d6 was played, and as you guys all know, I told you that you can close your eyes and play the bishop g5 move. Now my opponent already had been thinking here for quite some time, and this is a blitz game, and you cannot think more than like 5 to 8 seconds per move. But my opponent thought for 2 minutes here in the 3 minutes blitz game. Think of it, 2 minutes on this position. That's a lot of time. And he played the move b5. Now you must be wondering what happens. Well, b5 was played, but other moves are possible, you think. The problem is, after this b5 move, I cannot capture on b5 because now f6 does not come with a discovered check and black queen is extremely safe. So what black did is saved completely his entire position. which is, to be true, a bit really awesome move because I wasn't expecting this. But I knew bishop takes on b5 wouldn't work. So I sacrificed the bishop and I thought that, okay, I get the queen for it. I mean, of course, a player would obviously go for that. So I played bishop captures on d8, and I did not know what the idea is here. He played b captures on c4, and I could recapture. But in the position of two knights, I didn't want a double up pawn structure. So I went queen to e2, and he played rook captures on d8. I played queen to e7, threatening mate in 1. Actually, mate in 2. I don't even think that's a mate. I'm sorry for that wrong. They're telling you wrong. It's not a mate actually. Anyway, bishop b7 was played, and knight to f4. The knight to e4, and queen back to h4. And I think this is somewhere near the thumbnail position. I think a few more moves. Oh yeah, this move of d5. And you can see this is really almost a theoretical position. You can write a book on it. And this was pretty awesome because I never had reached such a position. If you compare on my screen, I have a queen for 2 bishops and 2 pawns. Wow, isn't that awesome? I proceeded with knight to g5. I wanted to trade off as many pieces as possible, which is going to result in my winning endgame. However, he continued with knight to f6. I played this again, knight to h5, trying to, attack again. He went knight to e8. This is a move I did not understand at first. But then I played queen to f4, and here comes that move, knight to d6. This is so awesome that it prevents the checkmate possibility on the f7 square. So I thought, what could I do now? So I played queen to e5, threatening mate over there. And I thought if he plays the pawn, I can easily checkmate him, and this was a very winning position. But my opponent went for knight to e8. No, sorry, that's the g5 glitch. Queen e5 and knight to e8. And you can see the awesomeness of this position. The knight can go back and forth, and it's just going to be a draw game. But I had my own plans. I played rook f to e1. He pushed the pawn to d3, and I played b4. The b4 idea is asking the bishop to capture, and now my queen can occupy the d4 square. Bishop takes on e1 and rook takes on e1. The point is simple. f6 here was played, but if you play something like c6, or maybe you can play d takes on c2, not trying to make a queen, get that queen out of the way, get the rook out of the way. I can simply capture that knight, and you're gone, because after rook captures this is checkmate. Pretty awesome game. So after rook takes on e1, f6 was played directly. And of course I could go for the same variation, but this time it wouldn't work because black king had one square for escaping, which was really powerful. So I had to play rook to e7. He captured my knight on the g5 square, and I played rook captures on g7 check. King to f8 was played. If knight takes on g7 is played, then you get checkmated immediately. That's why king to f8 was played. I played the queen c5 check, he defended with the knight, and I captured the pawn. Now he brought the knight back to c6 square, defending the checkmate on the e7 square. And I know that, of course, I had a trick up my sleeve. I played knight to f6. He tried to attack my queen with this rook move, but then again captures on h7 check, king moves, and rook g8 was checkmate. Now this is a pretty awesome position for a thumbnail, but I thought that instead of showing you this, I would show you the mate. I would show you the position, which was really theoretical. Well, I think we should move on, but the point is, I want to show you another game in which the same opening was played. And maybe it has not reached the theoretical position, but it reached something more. Okay, so let's continue. And this is the second game, and my opponent's name is Peseleloko. I don't know what that means. Anyway, this is the same type of game. e4 I played, and the whole opening was repeated. And after castlings, I went for this knight to d5. Now, these people treat as an inaccuracy no matter what, because they think the engine is always right. But this is not an inaccuracy, it's a pretty good trap. Here knight to a5 was played again, and I again went for the b3 move, which I should not have, but At that time when I was inventing this opening, I had no idea that b3 could be bad also. Knight takes on c4 was played in this game. Yes, I know you must have seen queen knight takes on e4 previously, but knight takes on c4, it takes the bishop, it eliminates the bishop, and b captures was played, of course, and knight takes on d5, pawn captures, and my opponent went for this cunning f5 move, which allows him to take control over the center easily. But I had another trick up my sleeve. I played the move knight. Oh, what the hell! I had a trick up my sleeve and I played the move knight takes on e5. Now you must be thinking that of course the move to be played here is bishop d4. You get a rook or you get the knight. Well, that's your trance, guys, because the move to be played here is c3, and awesomely, after you capture the knight over there, you're in the end game. d4, bishop to f6, and then e5. Bishop retreats again, and now I played this move, pawn to g3, and you can observe the position. The black bishop has no squares to go. It is stuck on the e7 square. It has no squares to go. The rook cannot move. The queen can move, but it's useless, and also the bishop is stuck back. This is all very bad for black. I get a really good position here actually. d6 was played. Now trying to open up the position, but I am like, no, I went for the e6 move. Now the light square bishop cannot move. The dark square bishop has only one square to go to, but that would be the waste of a move because it does not work. Again, my opponent tried to play the move c6, now again trying to open up the position, but this again ended up badly for him because I played c4, and the final try by my opponent to open up the position was the b5 move. Of course it did get successful, but the problem was quite unique here, because after I played d captures on c6, he had two options, and both of them ended up in his problems, because if you play the move pawn captures on c4, then I get to play the d5 move, and you have an awesome necklace, a deathly necklace in black's camp. Although the dark square bishop can move one diagonal and the light square bishop can move one diagonal too, but I am threatening queens over here. This was really nice. That's why after d takes on c6, he tried bishop takes on e6, the second move to be analyzed, and of course I went d5, bishop c8, and pawn captures. If you observe the board properly, I have two pawns for giving up my bishop, and as you can see, these three pawns are actually an awesome attacking menace. Now rook b8 was played in this position, trying to attack the pawn. I simply defended with a4. He tried a6 and I went queen c2. The point is, if you capture on b5, I can fork immediately and you lose either the queen or the rook. That's why this was not played in this position. Queen c7 was gone for, trying to defend, and queen d3, not defending the pawn. My opponent played rook to a8 again, and not knowing which move to play, and bishop to e3 I went, and this was deathly. Pawn captures, rook captures, and my opponent played the blunder, bishop to f6, and it seems like attacking the rook, but the end game, which had started long ago, also came to the end, because I played the move, the deathly rook a7. Now attacks the queen, eliminates it from the whole 7th row really, and here queen b8 was played, and the last move of the game was c7, and of course you immediately lose the queen, you lose the game, and you have no chance of winning in this position. So therefore the people who treat this knight captures as a blunder, well, let me show you that position of knight takes on e5 again. You think this is a blunder, but this is not. This is a strategy. The computer even won't understand this position, because after this bishop to d4, these bulldozer pawns are actually marching on the board, and black has no activity. no activity. After this g3 move, no activity at all for black. So that's it guys, this is the twin prick gambit video and it has come to the end. Again I'll show you, this is the twin prick gambit and this is the twin prick gambit accepted. After knight takes on e4, you play d4 and allow this capture again, and the queen d3 move is deadly. Again I'm telling you, please play this when the opponent is trying to be symmetrical with you. You will have the most advantage ever in a game. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe, please like and suggest more for the video. Thank you.